Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Retribution. It's a movie starring Liam Neeson and some other people. This is my spoiler review. Link in the description for my spoiler-free review, but this is my spoiler review, so spoiler alert. There is no furry. Moving on. So, I thought about this some more, and I just had more than I wanted to say about this movie. Like, yes, you still shouldn't see it, but the things that bugged me was... So, okay, what didn't bug me was that it starts off with Liam Neeson being a bad father because he's never there for them and he's working all the time. And on the one hand, I'm like, well, that's just classic Hollywood, being the very successful, rich dad needs to prioritize the family more. But at the same time, like, that's been a thing for ever? And also a really common thing with Liam Neeson's character. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine, let's do that. But just... What annoyed me was that from, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 minutes in, I thought that the guy on the other end of the phone was actually going to be in Liam Neeson's imagination. Because why else would you put the headphone in and make it so that nobody else in the car can hear what's happening, nobody that you have on speakerphone can hear the other guy? Like, the only reason to have that headphone in when you're doing all of the rest of the things, because there was not a scene, or if they filmed it, they fucking cut it out, but there was not a scene where the guy was like, put me on headphones, don't have me on speakerphone. Like, that didn't happen ever, so why would you not have him on speakerphone so that A, your kid in the back who keeps on asking what's going on, you don't have to explain what just happened, and he doesn't have to be like interrupting you and shit, and then also... people that you call the phone can hear this guy saying things so that other people know he exists. So I thought, right up until the guy got in the car, that this was just going to be a Liam Neeson's, like, Tyler Durden. That's what I thought. But it wasn't. And so I guess props to them for giving me a twist that I didn't see coming, because I was expecting it to be dumber than that because of how obvious it was. So I guess props for that, ish. The other thing, so I mean, this is a little bit out of order, but so the cops stop him and they take off the doors and they're like, hey, like, you know, or we're gonna stop you, and he's like, you can't take the kids out of the car because they'll die. And then the cop is like, oh, we can't take the kids out of the car because they'll die, because they'll get killed. Okay. And there's this, like, long pause before he's like, because of the pressure plate that I am on, that we are all on. Like, come on, man. And that's what so much of this movie is that there is phrasings of things that would have solved problems or made things more clear, or just, like, not made risk. Because the guy on the other end of the phone multiple times said, oh, do this, or don't do this. Like, don't take me off speaker, or put me on, or, like, put her on speaker, or don't put her on speaker. Things like that Liam Neeson would start to do, and then change his mind and not do. Like, this dude had all the opportunities, I guess not opportunities, but like inspiration for like, hey, you didn't follow my orders, now I'm going to do the thing that I said I would do. But he didn't. He continued not to, which is another reason that led me to believe that it was just his imagination just coming up with reasons for him to do the thing, but when he broke his own rules, it was okay. But, you know, for example, the phone guy said, hey, have her bring the money to the car, throw it to the passenger side, and walk away, no conversations. If he had it on speakerphone, then the wife would have known, hey, I'm not allowed to have a conversation with this. But instead, Liam Neeson, and instead of verbatim repeating back what the guy said, he said, hey, bring it to the passenger side and just walk away. So if I heard that, I would be like, okay, let me ask some questions as I'm walking up and tossing it and, like, try to get some information before I walk away. Which, had she done that, like, had the guy not changed his mind to give it to Blue Suit Guy, then he would have had to get another excuse to blow them up. And it's just that sort of thing where, you know, the cops wouldn't have done this, I don't think they would have done that, and it's just filled with moments like that, where if you had just changed the phrasing, it would have made more sense. Like, he knows there's a bomb under his seat, but he never has them, even when he has the mute feature, which the, you know, bomb guy apparently never noticed. But when he never has his kid check their own seats to see if there's a pressure plate under there. And they never, like, it definitely could have gotten to the point where it's like, hey, let's find an open area or somewhere near a ditch, you know, like sort of the water that he went into, and just open up the doors and have them dive down, because explosions go where the least resistance is, which is going to be mostly upward. So they could have dived down and been okay. Or at least, like, even if their seats had pressure plates, which they didn't, they would have been able to, you know, jump out of the way fast enough to not necessarily get hit by all that. But nope, didn't even think of that. And then the other thing, just a minor gripe, this appears to be set in Germany. Everyone else on that German police force is a white dude, except for the person in charge, who is a black female. Sure, Jan. Sure. Okay. Yep. Did you get the message? Because that's where we're at, is the message. So, moving on from that, yeah, it just, the guy who had done the stealing and whatnot, like, I would have to rewatch it, but I'm not going to, but I'd have to rewatch it to see, like, how was he communicating on the phone at the same time that he was in the car telling the guy, like, I'm doing what you want. And then also, if they filmed it, they cut it out, Liam Neeson stops across the track. The guy didn't say, hey, stop across the track. The guy was like, hey, go to this point. And then they show him reaching this point and then continuing a little bit further, but still stopping before crossing the track. What was this guy's plan if Liam Neeson was like, oh, that's my friend, let me pull up next to him, or even nearly as close as I was to my other friend who got blown up? Or, you know, let me go somewhere else that I can't see, or let me just continue driving, or what? Like, there's so many ways that could have gone wrong, or gone the way that guy didn't intend. And he's like, oh, I'm 10,000 steps ahead of you. Like, are you really, though? Are you really? Like, oh, I'm playing 4D chess, I got all these other things going on, and you didn't see anything. Did I panic when your children were in the car? No. Okay, so you're saying that you planned all this out meticulously, and you're so many steps ahead of people, but you didn't plan for his kids being in the car. Okay. Doesn't seem like maybe that's a strong selling point on your I know everything speech, but whatever. And also, the fact that Liam Neeson was just like, oh, hey, when he stopped by the cops, he's like, you gotta find this guy. And they're like, yeah, we'll totally find him. And then he's like, I can tell you're not gonna find him. I gotta find him myself. And so somehow all of these blockade vehicles were parked in such a way that his regular ass SUV could bust through them. Okay. And then also, they have a fucking, like, police car chase for a couple minutes until they don't. And you know how it ends? It fucking doesn't. They're just like, okay, now he's in this crowd of people. So how did he lose those cops? Because the bit of like, okay, he went this one thing and then two of the cop cars went like that. That looked like every other midpoint of this chase sequence. It was not any sort of end for the cops chasing him. Didn't make any sense that suddenly there were no cops. Also, it didn't make sense for his wrecked ass ride, like no doors or anything, to somehow get in this giant mob of people with none of them except for that one guy, like after he'd already parked, being like, hey man, you're missing your doors. So, but how did nobody say anything or be like, that's suspicious, or And then also, how did he even get there? Because it was clearly a crowded European city, which means they likely had a whole bunch of bollards or barricades or other police vehicles preventing vehicles from going into the crowd area. But nope. Nope, he's just there. And then also, why would Guy, whatever, reveal himself in person? There's no reason to. Absolutely not. He set up all this shit so that he wouldn't have to reveal himself in person. And then suddenly he's just like, yep, I'm going to get in the car now in this city that probably has a whole lot of security cameras. And I could have even forgiven the fact that they like drove to some like parkway thing. Still cops haven't found them again. Nobody's reported them again. Nobody's like, that's a weird vehicle. Nope. They're just going to have this conversation. I would have forgiven the Hollywoodism of like the guy taking off his mask and his hoodie and everything else and be like, haha, it was me the whole time. Because I get that they want to have the villain do the monologue thing and that you got to have the face to be like, oh, that's who it is, type of thing. I get that. But everything leading up to that was just dumb. Along with just like his there's no reason for him to be in there. It doesn't make any sense. And then also, how do you really think that, like, do you really think that the cops can't be like, hey, let's go ahead and check your phone, the phone that was in there, to see who he was calling, and maybe where those calls were going to, originating from? Like, there's so many other movies that have shown what today's technology can do in a believable fashion, and this was just like, nah, fuck all that. Nobody knows anything about that. Nobody has seen any movie in the past 20 years about how cell phones work. Yeah, no forensics will ever tell. That's why Liam Neeson has to solve this problem himself. So dumb. So dumb. Yeah. There's probably other things that I'm just forgetting right now, because this movie just annoys me so much with how bad it was. So still, 2 thumbs way down. Let me know in the comments down below if you watched it and what your least favorite part was, or what did I miss that was not believable about this. So yeah, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.